and welcome in to MIZ-STL on the Loot Information Station. I'm Grant Salzman. He's Brendan Schaefer, and it's Go Tigers tomorrow, right, Brendan?
I think we have to be more specific this week.
Oh,
I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go Missouri tomorrow. How's that?
That's right. That'll play. Mizzou, Missouri, our Tigers. Yeah, Tigers on Tigers crime will be happening on the Plains, but which side will emerge? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Missouri, their first road test this weekend, a 6:45 trip down to the Plains, as Brendan mentioned, against the Auburn Tigers. And Brendan, last year we saw Missouri, I won't say quite similar, it was a little earlier in the season, but still high hopes and expectations, and they go on the road and they get, I'm not sure there's enough adjectives to describe, verbs, words to describe what happened to them down in College Station. Maybe mollywopped is the best. Shellacked. I mean,
they got their asses kicked. I'll say that.
Yeah,
that's
pretty. It was a good old fashioned butt whooping.
Yep.
And now you're coming off by far one of the more heartbreaking losses in the Elijah Drinkowitz era. How do you respond? I think that's
going to be the question. Yeah.
Yeah. And it has to be different. It's got to be, because last year this team wasn't prepared. At least this year, they're ready. They've been tested by Alabama. They've been tested by South Carolina. Last year, I don't remember their biggest test before A&M was BC. I think
they played Boston College and Vanderbilt, I think, and neither of those teams were great last year. I mean, in South Carolina, it's not very good. But, yeah, I mean, you've had that Alabama test at home to sort of ramp up to, all right, this ain't easy, and they lost it. So, obviously, they know that at this point. But it was at home, so you still aren't exactly ready for what's going to get to you. But, yeah, I think it's going to be – I'm not worried that we're going to see the same thing we saw against A&M last year on the road. Like, be completely blitzed, be – hit in the mouth early and just totally unable to respond. Texas A&M last year was a pretty good team, and I think Auburn isn't a bad team, but I don't think they're a team that has shown that they can win a close game or that they can overcome some difficulties. So it's a gettable game. Not only is it gettable, I think if you're going to talk anything about college football playoff beyond this week, it's got to be a win. It's a must-win game if we're going to continue to hold to some of the hopes and expectations we had of Mizzou previously.
Yeah, and I think with that, these are two must-win games. Like, I don't want to look ahead, but if we're looking,
you got to do them one at a time.
I agree, but if you got to get this through this one in Vandy to get the same opportunity that you had against Bama against A&M.
Yeah, I agree. No, if for playoff purposes, when you're kind of canvassing the rest of the schedule, the A&M game is the toughest team you play, but you get them at home. I would say Oklahoma probably the toughest environment and team combo, but they are limited at times offensively. I mean, John Mateer will probably be more of a challenge when he's fully healthy again, but he didn't look great in that game against Texas. So, like, you can win at Oklahoma, but I would say those are the two that you're going to consider to be your most difficult, and like you got to split them, right? Between A&M and Oklahoma, if you could just get one of the two and clean up the rest of your schedule, you can't overlook anybody. But Arkansas, Mississippi State, again, if we're talking about a playoff team, those are givens. The playoff teams don't lose those games. And then these are the two road games coming up that are like kind of in the middle, where neither of them are easy. Yeah, you're favored over Auburn, but you started the week, they were favored. You'll probably be an underdog at Vanderbilt, especially if Vanderbilt beats LSU this weekend at home. So they're kind of the two real coin flip games, Grant, that I think they got to win them both. If you're going to be the team that is able to, rise out of the muck of this like 10-team group in the SEC that all think they're going to the playoff right now. But there's 10 teams that could say, hey, we go 10-2, we're in. But you got to do it. You got to win some tough games to do it, and you certainly got to win the games you're supposed to win to be able to have that distinction.
Yeah, and like you said, it's if you lose this game tomorrow, this team wasn't what we thought they were. They weren't as good as we thought they were. The playoffs are out. Like this is a game that good teams that have aspirations for championships, for the playoffs, win. It's pretty simple, and Elijah Drinkowitz has not really shown the ability yet to win big games on the road, and I would count this as a big game on the road.
Yeah, I would say based on where their season is for sure, because if you lose this, the bottom could really fall out of this thing. I mean, 7-5. If they lose this game, I would probably say 7-5 is closer to my guess than where we're at today, where I'm still thinking 10-2 is something they can achieve. But you have to win these type of games. Like you look at the teams that recently Auburn has lost to. It's been close games every single time. I know they lost by 10 to Georgia, but they were about to be 17-0 in the lead, and then you get the call go against you on the fumble at the goal line. But they lose by 10 to Georgia. They lose by 6 at A&M, which, as we know, that's pretty good performance compared to what Mizzou did last year going to College Station. And their other game against Oklahoma, they lose by a touchdown and had a call in that game where they thought, should have seen a touchdown taken off the board from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They missed it, right? So they've been close, but college football seasons, you play 12 of these, and really about, 8 of them or so are going to be difficult or games that are in the balance. And if you have lost 3 in a row of those, as Auburn has, and then you get to another one and you lose another one, like at the end of the day, history will remember you as a 5-7 team that was not very good.
Yeah.
And the toughness in the margins is where that's determined. And I just think after the way last week went, certainly disappointed, but I feel like for all the way that we've talked about, this Missouri team is one of the toughest. Like that's really a characteristic that they have carried. You thought about the tough moments against Kansas and South Carolina where they had to rise above, and they did it. Like, let's show that toughness, go on the road, beat a team they're not as good as you on paper. And you got to just use that's what you have to do if we're going to still consider you in that category.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it a little bit, but you talk about the tough Missouri team, and Auburn folds. Like, they do not fight through adversity. It's kind of Hugh Freeze doesn't really fight through adversity. You see him screaming, yelling, and crying on the sideline. Like, they've pretty kind much. What'd you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Like, they kind of have taken on the personality of their coach. So you get this team to bend just a little bit, and they'll break. They'll snap. Like, if you could come out, opening drive touchdown, stop, score, all of a sudden it's 10-0, 14-0. Like, I think you'd have the chance in the first quarter to bury Auburn before they even get a chance. Because desperate teams, if you get ahead of a desperate team early, it normally takes the desperation out of them. Right. And Auburn right now is a desperate team. On the other hand, though, if it's a close game, third, fourth quarter, this Auburn team has absolutely nothing to lose at this point. You'll see the trick play. You'll see whatever Hugh Freeze needs to pull out of the bag to win this game will be pulled out of the bag. So that is where I think it's a little scary. And you mentioned all the issues with the referees that Auburn has had as of late. It's a little scary to be now Missouri, who could be on the other end of some calls, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to anticipate what the referees are going to do, and you just have to kind of tune that stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to talk about calls because it's irrelevant, honestly. When you think about the way that the Texas A&M game went off the rails, it was because of Mizzou internalizing too much of the calls that went against them, and they folded because of it. I mean, they folded like a cheap tent. After Luther Burden had a touchdown, it got taken off the board. I think there was another penalty early, like a defensive penalty that extended that A&M drive where they scored. And it's like those two things were all that they needed to take themselves from. I felt like they actually did come out and start pretty well, but those two things happen. And it's like, oh, well, now we're down and out of it. And then they acted like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried that that's going to happen this time. If only because if you spend too much time worrying about that and worrying about, okay, how are they going to respond, this, that, and the other, you're probably not built for this anyway. Like if that's what we're spending all of our time fretting about, I don't think this is a game you can worry about. This is a game that you have to confidently go in and handle business. And if you don't, then next week we'll talk about Mizzou, just kind of not being that team this year. But I, for right now, still believe that they have the capabilities to do that. Like, again, I look back at the Alabama game and I feel like they played not their best game. They obviously made some key mistakes, but they showed enough against that type of opponent where I came away thinking their floor is better than it could have been.
Yeah.
Right. Like they easily could have come in and lost by 17 to Bama at home. And, you just look at them and say, oh, okay, Mizzou is, a fine team, but they're more like the middle of the SEC to the back half of the SEC. And they might win 7 or 8 games, but whatever. Like I didn't come away from the Alabama loss thinking those things. But they have to still prove it in the additional games that they played. Like you don't get credit for, well, we almost beat Alabama, so that's a half a win. No, like you have to win the games that are still on the schedule. And I don't think there are many teams as good as Alabama left on your schedule, but you can't then play down to the rest of the competition as a result.
I mean, I don't think there's any teams as good as Alabama left on the schedule. I know you think A&M's better than Bama. I don't.
I don't know. Like I don't think we know that about A&M yet, but we don't know that they're not better. I mean, Alabama's got as impressive of a stretch right now as anybody in college football. Win at Georgia, win against Vanderbilt, which I don't think is any slouch, and then obviously coming to Mizzou, we were in that environment to know how, much of a rocking environment it was, and they won that game. So you can't take anything away from Bama right now. But A&M is going to be another tough one. I think everybody below that is certainly a notch below what A&M is.
Yeah, I'll say this to your point about playing Bama close, and it maybe is raising the floor. If you played Bama close and then you lose tomorrow, it's like, okay, like they played a good home game, but this team just isn't what they thought they were. But if they win against Auburn, then maybe they win against Vandy. It's like, whoa. So this Mizzou team is pretty good. They've just won 2 really tough road games, and they played Bama close. Like, this team could easily be undefeated right now. Whereas you said, even if they lost by 17 and then beat Auburn, we'd still, I feel like, be a little more unsure. But if they beat Auburn, I think we're talking next week right again about how good this Mizzou team can be.
Yeah. And we're in a situation where it's all on the table still. It would have been so much easier to beat Alabama and then look at the rest of your schedule and see margin for error. But maybe this is the way it needed to be, Grant. Like maybe they had to kind of take that loss, get knocked down a peg, and have, an STP mentality through the rest of the season. If you beat Bama, do you peak there and feel like you can coast into Auburn? Like that would have made this Auburn game a trap. Now there's no trap about it. Like this is a game that you could lose. It's a true coin flip, and Auburn's played in close games, so I don't think you're blowing anybody out. Like you said, if you're the more mentally tough team, you can make them fold by the time you get to the third quarter and the fourth quarter. But this is going to be a close game is the way that I see it, and probably a low-scoring game too. Like Auburn has not put up a bunch of points, but they also have played very solid defense. Georgia only gets to 20, A&M only gets to 16 points at home. So, this is a game where you get to 20 points. You score 21, 23. I'm going to feel like you have a pretty decent shot of it. I'm expecting the Mizzou defense to do to Jackson Arnold what most teams have been able to do. He's been limited. He hasn't thrown any interceptions, but he's not really throwing the ball downfield. Their pass offense is not extremely functional right now. You can get pressure on him and bring him to the ground, and he might fumble the football as well. So those are kind of the things I'm thinking about. Stopping their run game is they didn't do a great job against Jam Miller, but that's probably the best running attack that they've seen. Auburn's not probably as potent on the ground as Alabama. So I think defensively, this is a game where defense shows up, continues to make the strides that I think it did make, especially in the second half against Alabama. And then on offense, I've said and others I've heard say, I feel like this has to be Bo Perbula's game to, not because I'm ripping him for losing to Alabama. I think people went a little bit too far with that. But I think when you look at the way that Auburn is made up, their defense, the metrics would tell you it might even be a little better than Alabama's. And I think a little bit more balanced, though, where Alabama lesser against the run on paper, and they've improved that the last couple of weeks, but really good against the pass. I think Auburn, you can throw on a little bit, and because of that, I think that's what Bo Perbula is going to have to do. Don't abandon Ahmad Hardy again. I'd love to see Mizzou hold a little bit more time of possession and have the run game be a focal point here. But this last week I said that shouldn't be a game where Bo Perbula has to be your best player to win. And I feel like the game script, whether it's Mizzou abandoning the run or Alabama forcing Mizzou to do so, kind of made it to where Bo Prabula did have to be your best player.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to do it. This week, I actually think he does kind of have to be your best player. He's got to be the guy that leads the charge. And when the throws are there, make them. When the mistakes are there to be made, don't fall victim to them. And you'll be able to put up the 23 points or so that you need to beat Auburn. I don't think it's going to take a ton because it'll be a lower scoring affair. But this week, I am looking for Bo Prabula to take a step forward from what we saw last week, learn from it, internalize some of those mistakes, and say, here's how to avoid them the next time. Not beating him down or anything, Grant, but I think this is an opportunity for growth that we could see where because of the matchup and the ability to maybe pass on this team a little bit better than you did Alabama, this is a spot for him, I think, to have a good game.
I think so as well. And to talk about Jackson Arnold's stats, he threw for 108 against Baylor, 251 his season high against Ball State, 142 against South Alabama, 220 against Oklahoma. A game, again, they only put up 10 points in, though, and then 125 against A&M and 137 against Georgia. So this passing offense has not been very good, Brendan. I think it's a chance to for your secondary, who actually I thought had a pretty good performance against Alabama. Yes, they give a couple big plays at Ty Simpson, but all in all, I was happy with their performance. Only gave up 200 yards or so to Ty Simpson. It's a chance for them to stack good games together, which I think would be huge for this defense and the secondary's confidence.
Yeah, I thought the first half was disappointing because of how easy a lot of it came for Alabama, but I think they did make some adjustments and defensively got more of a pass rush, which forced Ty Simpson into, some quicker decisions at times in the second half. Obviously, the one moment that stands out in the negative on this is the 3rd and 24, which then allows them to pick up enough yardage to go for it on 4th and 7 or whatever it was. And then they make a great play there to extend that drive. And ultimately that's kind of where they sealed the game, I feel, even though Mizzou did have a chance at the end. That they didn't give up any deep shots. I don't think Auburn is a very big threat for that. Like, this is a game where I would say, yes, you want to keep everything in front of you, but be a little bit more willing to take chances. And if he beats you over the top once, go, okay, we learned that it's possible. Yeah. We'll adjust back to our defense that tries to contain and keep everything in front of us. I'd be a little bit more aggressive, I think, in this game, especially at the beginning, Grant, to try to set a tone and say, look, we're going to stop the run as a rule. Like, that's just what we do at Missouri. That I feel confident about that. On the pass defense stuff, like, force Jackson Arnold to be uncomfortable early and see what you can do. Because I don't know if he's capable of going deep. Ty Simpson obviously was. So when you were giving up soft stuff against zone coverage in that game, you don't like it, but you almost have to live with it because you're like, if we approach it differently, we're going to get beat over the top by NFL caliber receivers and an NFL caliber quarterback. Cam Coleman would be the receiver, I guess, that you'd worry the most about for Auburn, but I don't think they have an NFL caliber passer that can distribute the ball to him down the field. So unless he shows it to you and beats you on it, then you tip your cap and make a change. I would start out more aggressively and not give up you don't concede the 5 to 7 to 10 yard routes, because that's honestly exactly what Jackson Arnold would prefer you do, because I think it's all he's capable of executing for this offense.
Yeah, I think it's let's rush an extra guy or two. Let's blitz 5 or 6 guys and just have 5 guys in coverage, maybe man up and take away the 5 to 10 yards. And if he beats you once 20, like you said, okay, we'll take it away. But also, if you're blitzing 5 or 6, I don't think he has the wherewithal or the willing to stand in there and take a hit and throw it deep. Like, if he feels that pressure, he's normally breaking the pocket. So, like, that's where I go, I don't think he's going to beat you deep if you're rushing 5 or 6 guys. Yeah, if you drop back and you get soft and maybe there's a coverage mix-up, he'll beat you deep. But I feel the same way as you do. I don't think he's very good. I think you can blitz him a lot, and that's what I'd love to see is Josiah Trotter get in there maybe a little bit more. Send Khalil Jacobs on him, and then have Damon Wilson and Zion Young off the edge as well. I think there could be a lot of sacks for Missouri in this game.
Yeah, I hope that they do get him down to the ground. Georgia only did like once, maybe twice. It wasn't a ton, but there have been other games where Jackson Arnold has hit the deck. And yeah, again, like, I don't worry as much about him going over the top. So what will annoy me in this game is if they're getting some pressure, but he's able to get the ball out quickly because Mizzou is playing such soft coverage on those 8 to 10 yard routes. That's been kind of the staple of Batun's defense. I am calling for something different in this game because I think that's the best way that Arnold wants to beat you, is to take care of the ball, short passes, run when he feels pressure. I don't really worry about him being able to run a ton. It'll happen. He's got good mobility, but I think Mizzou's done a nice job against mobile quarterbacks this year, kind of hemming them in and limiting what they've been able to do in the run game. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think Ty Simpson is the leading rusher from the QB spot, and I think he had about 30 yards on you, if I'm not mistaken. So it's really, you can't complain that much about how Missouri's handled mobile quarterbacks. If this was last year, the year before, Brennan, we'd be, oh no, Jackson Arnold, he's going to rush for 100 on you, because that's how it feels like Missouri's normally handled mobile quarterbacks, where this year it feels a little bit different. They've handled it a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'd have to go back and look at last year's numbers. Like, there were definitely individual plays against Mizzou last year where that felt like you're letting guys get away. But I don't know if the overall numbers were crazy. Like, do you think about some of the guys that they faced? Tommy used to be Thomas Castellanos. They didn't get it. You didn't get anything against them. 13 yards.
Okay.
Or, excuse me, 13 carries for 16 yards. I'm trying to remember, Pavia probably had a little bit, but I would say last year that they honestly did maybe better than we might remember. Pavia had 84 rushing yards. That was one where that's kind of what he does. But no, I think I do feel good about it. You've played Jalen Daniels, you played Lenora Sellers, and those two are capable of doing that, and they didn't really do it to you too much. So yeah, I'm with you that they've done a nice job of it this year, to where like these next 2 weeks of Arnold and certainly Pavia again. I guess Pavia, you worry about it a little bit, but I'm not as concerned. I think that's an element that's gonna happen, and they'll get what they get with that. But it's not. I don't think it's gonna break the game against Missouri. Certainly not this weekend. Maybe if Arnold gets a little bit too loose, we'll be feeling a little bit more cautious about it going into the Pavia game. But for this weekend, I think it'll be something they can manage.
Yeah, and there might. I think where Arnold can really hurt you with this leg is in the red zone. They love going at that read option, giving him a chance to break it out. He scored against Georgia. Should have had 2 touchdowns against Georgia. Yeah. So that's definitely, I think, where Missouri has to really key in on him is in the red zone. And
on the road, especially, that can be a little bit of a tricky thing. I just feel like when they're running read option at you and your crowd's behind you, it's like, all right, it doesn't feel as demoralizing. But if they run it 2-3 times in a drive and you guess wrong every time and they pick up 8 to 10 yards, that can very quickly feel like the game's getting away from you. So I would agree with that. That would be the one area that I feel like because they do a good job closing out on a guy once it's not a design run, but he's scrambling around and like, okay, he might get 4 or 5 yards, but it's not going to be this just gaping hole that they left in the defense. I would say Batun's defense has done a good job of that. Watch the zone read, trust your instincts and stay home where you're supposed to, know your assignment. And I think they'll be able to mitigate that as well.
Okay, so before we go to break, give our predictions for the SEC slate and some other college football, and give our score prediction for the Missouri game. We did this last week, and I really liked it. Who's a player on both sides of the ball that you're really looking out for? Maybe a little underrated. Like, I think personally, offensively, someone that needs to get going in this game is Kevin Coleman. He needs to find a way. I hope he's back to fully healthy, because he will be big for Bo on the road. A surefire guy that could get 5 to 10 yards every single time.
Yeah, and I want to say Alubade because I think he should play more, but I also think like you need to get Marquise Johnson back in the fold too. Like, and maybe we don't view it this way by the end of the year. Maybe Alubade overtakes somebody and he's more of a go-to pass catcher.
Yeah.
But like Coleman and Marquise Johnson were supposed to be the top dogs, and we didn't see much from him in the last game. Variety of reasons, right? Bo missed Marquise Johnson a couple of times where he just didn't see him, and if he had, he might have had 2 touchdowns. And he had a reaction to that, right? On the field, he was upset. I think getting everybody back on the same page and working those guys into the offense and the way that they do things very well. I think Alabama maybe just took Kevin Coleman away. Find a way to get that short passing game going that we saw be successful throughout the game against Kansas, against South Carolina. I think you can do that a little bit more easily against Auburn. They allow 225 pass yards per game, 65th in FBS. Alabama's like the number 2, number 3 pass defense in the country, and number 3 allowing 135 yards per game. I think you'll
Pretty
be
good.
able to do more against these guys, and that's going to mean, I agree, Grant, your receivers. Like Ahmad Hardy, I think that's a given. I maybe even want to see more for Jamal Roberts because he showed some juice, and I feel like the game script, when you're just committed to giving Hardy 70% of the rushing attempts and there aren't that many to go around, that's going to mean lesser for Roberts. You know, I would sprinkle both those guys in early so that you're throwing a couple of different things at the defense, keeping them both fresh. But 1 for 10 on third down didn't work out. It's the reason that they didn't hold the ball enough to be able to establish the run the way that they wanted. So I think you don't want to abandon the run game. You want to make sure that's a focal point. But I agree with you. Like, Auburn's going to give you some things in the passing game that you need to be able to take advantage of. On defense, do you have a name that jumps out to you?
I think it's Josiah Trotter because I think that he's going to be big in the run game because Auburn's going to try to run the football to set up for Jackson Arnold. And I think he'll be blitzing a lot. I think it will be him shooting those gaps, trying to pressure Arnold quick. And even if he's not getting to the quarterback, maybe that pressure takes the left guard away, the center away, and then all of a sudden you have Damon Wilson and Zion Young isolated on the edges. They can get pressure as well. So I think Josiah Trotter just manning that middle and kind of being a do-it-all linebacker will be really big.
I want to see, and I don't know if you could say under the radar, he's a star of the linebacking
I
core.
agree. Obviously,
of the two, like Damon Wilson, I think is like a steady engine. He's playing himself into being a first-round pick. I want to see Zion Young really make a difference.
Yeah.
He did. You know, he forced the fumble in the second half to start things off against Alabama, but you still kind of have that penalty weighing as you look back at the taunting and wonder, man, if that hadn't happened, does Mizzou win the game?
Yeah.
And so Zion Young is a freak of a talented player. I just want him to play a clean game where he also makes an impact, makes a difference. And maybe just a little bit of a, I know Jackson Arnold's got this interceptionless streak where he hasn't. And if there's somebody in that safety group that's going to step up, I'd love to see somebody read the eyes and make a play on a football and end that narrative, whether it's Catalan, whether it's a Marvin Burks coming back after, was not part of it when they kind of made their strides in the second half. I'm not blaming him, but it looked a lot better after he got ejected.
Yeah,
it really did.
It did. Santana Barber played well.
In terms of just like everybody kind of knowing their assignments and things like that, less of the confusion that I feel like we saw in the first half. Not saying Burks is responsible because I don't know enough about the scheme to know like who was supposed to be doing what.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see like him come back from that, adversity and have a big play, or Catalan have a big play where we just haven't seen him come up quite as many times as we thought we would. Those are kind of some of the names I'll be looking for.
Okay. Yeah. Jackson Arnold's creeping a little too close to Brady Cook for my liking. Let's not let Arnold break the record. All right, let's go to a quick break. Come back. We're going to give our predictions. Try to win you some money. One of us, we both lost money last weekend, but somebody lost a considerable amount more of money.
I lost it all. All the money I lost.
He has no money. That's why he's doing this. I'm Grant Salzman. He's Brendan Schaefer. We'll be right back on the Lou Information Station right after this quick break. We're live and on demand at louinfo.com.
The Lou Information Station, a whole new way to enjoy content created just for those of us in the St. Louis area. It's a whole new way to advertise and promote your business. Reach out and find out just how different we are. If you're tired of one-sided advertising offerings or your traditional media rep trying to shove digital marketing down your throat, visit louinfo.com and click on advertising. Or email partnerships at louinfo.com for more information.
Running out of space? Turn any room into a guest room in seconds with a custom Murphy bed from St. Louis Closet Company. Our sleek, space-saving Murphy beds fold up seamlessly, giving you more room for life and style. Pair it with custom closets, desks, or shelving for the ultimate multi-use space. Call 314-781-9000 or visit stlouisclosetco.com to schedule your free in-home consultation today.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Brown & Crouppen, we get that after an accident, money's tight. That's why we offer so much for free. First call, free. First consultation, free. Stuck at home or in the hospital, we'll come to you for free. So call Brown & Crouppen, where we don't get paid unless you do. And your first consultation is free.
Louinfo.com news headlines brought to you by Brown & Crouppen. GetBC.com.
With your Louinfo.com news, I'm Jared Cervello. Boeing is being accused of refusing to bargain in good faith as a strike in the St. Louis area continues. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers announced Thursday that it filed an unfair labor practice charge with the National Labor Relations Board. The union claims that the aerospace giant is, quote, stonewalling talks and refusing to negotiate. Over 3,000 Boeing workers have been on strike since early August. Ameren's plan to raise gas rates is now facing scrutiny on the Illinois side of the state line. Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office says the utility company's proposal would overcharge customers by more than $40 million. He's now asking the Illinois Commerce Commission to cut the increase by that amount, which is about a third of the total rate hike. The Lou Information Station is streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com. I'm Jared Sorello.
Now, louinfo.com weather, presented by STL Sports Central. St. Louis sports, anytime, anywhere.
Here's your louinfo.com weather update. We've got some rain on the way for at least part of our weekend with a fairly strong cold front on the way in. For now, we'll stay with a mix of sunshine and clouds, mid-80s for today. Overnight will be clear with upper 60s, rain and thunderstorms expected all day on Saturday. We'll top out at about 80. Lingering showers on Saturday night, sunny and mid-60s on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton for the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com.
This is Mizzou wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr.
And I'm Mizzou linebacker Josiah Trotter.
When we hit the field, we have each other's back.
And off the field, we got James Carlton and State Farm covering us.
Thanks, fellas. Nothing beats college football season and nothing beats saving money. Just by getting a quote from our office and mentioning Mizzou, we'll make a donation to support Mizzou's will to win push on your behalf. No strings attached.
So you're supporting the team just by checking your rates. Doesn't get any easier than that.
It's so easy. Check them out online at carltoninsurance.net. MIZ-STL.
Buddy.
What do you say, buddy?
Man, life comes at you fast. 1 minute you're cruising home, the next flashing lights in your rear view.
And that's when you need backup. With the Legal Buddy app, you can connect to a local attorney in seconds.
Seconds? Not waiting days for a callback?
Nope, right away. DWI, car accident, criminal charge, traffic ticket, Legal Buddy's got your back.
So it's like having a lawyer in your pocket.
Exactly. Someone ready to step in the moment you need them, no matter the situation.
That's peace of mind.
That's Legal Buddy.
We're always going to be buddies, right?
All right, where do I get this?
Just download the Legal Buddy app at LegalBuddyApp.com. Register and use code LEGAL for your chance to win a $250 Amazon gift card.
Nice. Tickets, accidents, legal trouble, you're covered.
The Legal Buddy app, always on your side. Download it today. Enter code LEGAL for your chance to win a $250 Amazon gift card.
Buddy, it don't get much better than this.
Yep.
Hey everyone, Cam Jansen here to tell you about the experts at Fast Signs in Earth City. Fast Signs can handle any and all of your business visibility needs, from traditional signs and graphics to digital to core graphics and anything in between. Fast Signs in Earth City has you covered. The station uses them, the Blues use them, and you will love the work they do. Call 314-344-4400 for your custom signage needs today. That's Fast Signs in Earth City. 314-344-4400.
And we're back on MIZ-STL on the Lou Information Station. Grant Saltzman, Brendan Schaefer here with you as Brendan has some cat trouble.
What's no trouble? She's just, I don't know what she wants right now.
She's just there.
Something.
Brendan,
pop back up.
I
had some money trouble.
Tough weekend.
Yeah. I lost just about every pick. Actually, there's one pick I didn't lose, and the only reason I didn't lose it is because it hasn't happened yet.
No, you won one pick.
No, that's true. But I'm talking about the pick that hasn't happened yet is the only reason I probably didn't lose that one, too, because Cal and North Carolina don't play till tonight. So we just got the weeks wrong on that. That's why we couldn't find the spread. We're like, why did they take it down? The spread has gone from 2. I got it at -14 for the show. It's now like -10. So I'm even in a worse spot there on the Golden Bears. But anyway, that'll probably tack on another loss to last week's total once we get through it. And I'll just, add it to the tally as we go.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say they're probably gonna win by 10. And you're gonna lose that off a bad line. Brendan did not hit one SEC play, not even one. He pushed on Mizzou, as did I. I hit Washington State plus 31.5, Texas 1.5, easily.
On both of those, they were easy. Yeah,
very easy. I also won the BYU Arizona over and Brett Norfleet over. I lost everything else, and Brendan won Ohio State minus 14, and that was it.
Thanks, Illinois.
Thank you, Illini. They got mollywop too.
Yep, that would have been the perfect sweep of despair, but I at least got that one. So I lost 8 units for the week, pending the Cal thing. You lost 3 units, 4-7-1, but you're still down 14 units on the season. I'm only down 4, but
okay.
I'm no longer in the black as I was before this week.
I'm crawling back, as some would say.
No, you're really not. You're still fading out. I'm just doing so badly that you're kind of catching up.
Exactly. All right, well, let's start it tomorrow, 11 a.m. One of the best games on the slate, really. LSU at Vanderbilt. Vandy, a 1.5 point favorite.
Favored over LSU.
Anybody
would have thought that to begin the year.
I saw multiple different things. Like, this is the first time since 1978 they've been favored, but then I saw they were favored in a game in 18 in an SEC game. I don't really know how long it's been, but it's been a very long time since they've been favored in an SEC game.
Yeah, I think they were favored. I don't know. It's one of those where maybe the line starts at one place and ends at another, kind of like Mizzou's did this week. But I did see people mention that Vandy was favored over Tennessee and ended up crushing them in 2018.
And
so I don't know what that line was. But.
And Shirley and Franklin's last year, when they went 8-4, they were favored in some SEC games, you would think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. It's always hard to get data on that.
Yeah.
Moving back, though, that's reliable. But it's been a minute, right? I think we know that for sure. And it's certainly, even probably to most people, it feels like a surprise at this moment to say, Vandy's favored to beat LSU this week. LSU hasn't done really anything wrong other than, they played Ole Miss and they lost close, but they haven't had a game where haven't handled business that they were supposed to. So interesting lineup. What do you see? It's 1.5 Vandy favored.
I know what you're going to pick. I am just a little bit of the crosshairs because I don't know if LSU's that good, but I think they're a little bit better defensively than Vandy. I think they're bigger up front. I'm going to take LSU plus 1.5 in this.
All right. I welcome the challenge. Yeah, I'm going Vandy. I'm going Vandy. I should have made more money on Vandy this year than I have, but I've done some stupid things with parlays and instead of just. And honestly, a couple times I've gotten burned by Vanderbilt, so I shouldn't maybe be so quick to take them. 2 times I have lost on a last-second touchdown against Utah State. Oof. They didn't cover because they gave up a last-second touchdown, and obviously the Bama game where they just needed to tackle him after a 4th and 2, and I would have been golden. They let him scamper. So I'm going to go back to the well, though. I think Vandy wins this game and probably covers.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really tough if they won by 1.
24-23, that could happen, but whatever.
Oklahoma, South Carolina catching 4.5 points this game at South Carolina. I think this is where SC turns it on and finds a big win in the season. I'll take them plus 4.5, but their money line is intriguing as well.
We may get to that if you want to add to the lay with your favorite picks of the week.
Ooh,
and we can talk about a money line. They're plus 170, so it's hard to give you 2 units.
Yeah,
I might be willing to just because I want to see Oklahoma lose. It's an interesting number. South Carolina and Auburn kind of feel like the same team right now to me so far this year. We're all right, we see that you've got some talented players and we know that you should be, you're capable of winning one of these games, but we haven't seen you do it yet. They lose by 10 at LSU, but they haven't played at home lately. The Vanderbilt game was a disaster when they lost. They lost Sellers, but their other home game was late September. They beat Kentucky 35-13. Beat them like a drum. No issues there. I'll take South Carolina in the points. I'd like to fade you when I can, but I'm not going to be rooting for Oklahoma by any means.
Yeah.
So, give me the Gamecocks. I think they can keep it close at least.
Okay, Ole Miss plus 7 going into Georgia in between the hedges.
Is that a number that surprises you?
I'm surprised by how high it is.
7? Yeah, I would have thought 3.5, 4.5, whatever. But sometimes you have to lean into that when it's like the number doesn't make sense to you. There may end up being a reason, but that is so juicy to take the points with Ole Miss. I'm very tempted.
And I'm taking the points with Ole Miss. I'll take Ole Miss plus 7.
I'm gonna kind of, against my better judgment, anchor to that premise of like when it feels completely wrong and the number feels like a mistake, don't take what feels like the obvious answer. Go the other way. I'll go Georgia minus 7. I do not like it. I don't have analysis other than the spread feels so obviously wrong. But this happened twice last week in the NFL, where initially I looked at spreads of the Chiefs being favored over the Lions, and I was like, really? And then by the time Sunday night came around, I bet the Chiefs because I'm like, I learned the lesson on Sunday afternoon. Jags, Seahawks. The Seahawks were like +1 or minus 1.5 on the road when they opened. And I'm like, Jaguars have played really good. That makes no sense. Seahawks handled their business. So I'm using that premise of when the line just doesn't look right, bet the way that feels like it's the wrong way. Georgia minus 7. That's
Georgia's the wrong way.
It's the wrong pick. That tells me they're winning by 21.
All right.
I don't know why. I think Ole Miss should be able to keep it close, but I'm going the other way.
And maybe that's a little bit of this in this game. A&M is 7.5-point favorite at Fayetteville. Feels like maybe
this
Arkansas
feels like the right line to me.
catch
This line feels right. I don't have an issue with this line.
And I'll take Arkansas plus 7.5. Backdoor cover for the Razorbacks, kind of like what they did against Tennessee. They can score. They're at home against one of their oldest rivals. I'll take the Hogs. I wish this game was still a Jerry World. I don't know why it's not.
I don't know. I think it's nice to have your rivalry games on campuses.
Fair.
But I agree with the Arkansas pick. I like this feels like a they could be sneaky and serve one day A&M and have them lose. They play better than, you wonder, like, all right, are they going to get that bump with Petrino in the first game? And they almost beat Tennessee. They only lost by 3. So I'll say that they can get over the hump in this one and, again, play close.
Mississippi State at Florida. Florida is a 9.5-point favorite in what could be Billy Napier's last ever game as a coach of the Gators. This one's hard because
this is very difficult.
Florida looked good last time at home against Texas, but at the same time, they were up. They were hyped for that game. I don't think they're going to get up as much for this game, so I will take Miss State plus 9.5.
I think that's probably like the best side to take because there's an out here where Florida just knows that Napier is like fired regardless of the result. Like it sounds like that boosters don't want him to coach the cocktail party because what happens if he wins? And then you feel like you're tied to him for longer than you want to be. And the boosters, according to reports, met with the AD and they're like, we aren't going to keep paying for this. We want something different. So that's a tough spot to put an AD in. And on the road, they just fell flat compared to what I thought they would do against A&M. That they were not, I think I picked them to cover and they didn't. I don't know if, they haven't beaten anybody by 10 points other than LIU. That's an FCS team. I don't like it. But I'll go Mississippi State. I'm going to be like last week. We aligned a lot, and we lost every game we were aligned on. But I'm going to do it again. Give me Mississippi State because I just think Florida, even if they play well, they might not win by 10.
Could you imagine how good people would be doing if they just faded our picks?
Prior to the last 2 weeks, you should have been tailing me. I was up a ton. The last 2 weeks, if you had faded me, you would have a new mansion. You would be able to buy yourself a home over the last 2 weeks alone.
Yeah. Okay. Texas at Kentucky. Kentucky, a 12.5-point underdog. I think Kentucky is the worst team in the SEC by far. I'll go Texas wins this game ugly, like 24-10. And the cover.
Right, but that's enough to cover.
Yep.
All right. Minus 12.5. Give me the Cats.
Really?
Give me the Cat. Yeah, I don't think I understand what they just did to Oklahoma, but that was like a neutral site game. That's a rivalry game. I still don't think Texas is very good. So show me something, Cats. Don't make me regret it. I wish it was more like 14.5, but it's not. Give me the Cats though.
14.5 would be, I'd maybe change. Brendan, do you know what Saturday in October this is? Tomorrow?
1, 2, 3. It's the third one.
In Alabama at hosting Tennessee, pardon me, in the third Saturday in October. This is a weird one because I think I'm very confident that Alabama will win this football game. Do they cover the
8.5?
spread is where I question.
Yeah.
I think so at home. Tennessee's had their way with them the last few years. I will go Alabama minus 8.5 against the Volunteers.
Me too. I actually think this is one of my easier picks. I'll call this one my most confident pick of the week in the SEC.
Ooh.
I like Arkansas quite a bit. I like Vandy quite a bit. I think Tennessee's defense is non-existent. And I think Bama rolls.
Roll Tide. All right. The last game of the SEC slate. It's the one we have the most interest in. Missouri going down to the Plains. They are a 1.5 point favorite. I will be taking Missouri to win this football game 24-20. So I will be taking the Tigers minus 1.5 as well.
24-20, huh? Or 23-20, you said?
24-20.
24-20. Okay. I'll go ugly game. 2017 Mizzou.
And they cover. That's all you need.
Cover. All I need is a win. They could win 6-5 for all I care.
Yes.
Win this football game.
Yes.
You must win this football game.
Please. I will go to a game for my favorite picks. That's what we're going to start. Just 5 favorite football picks. Can be anything you want. Let me find it real quick. It will be Cal minus. I'm trying to find.
I don't think you can take it. I still have it from last week.
You have it from last week. You don't have it this week.
You're going to take the better number?
I'm going to take them at minus 8.5.
That seems illegal to me.
Give me.
Holy crap, it is down to 8.5.
Cal minus 8.5.
This sucks. I shouldn't allow this, but it is kind of funny. Like, you're basically aiming for the middle against me.
I hope they win by 10.
We never let each other pick games that maybe I'll take North Carolina then, just to go 1-1 when somehow the Chapel Bills win this game outright. No, I'm not going to do that. I will take a double down on Vanderbilt.
Ooh.
Start with that. I've been pretty good most weeks with the double downs when I pick an SEC game that I like, and it was not good last week, but I'll take Vanderbilt. I'm going to Nashville. I want Vanderbilt ranked higher than Mizzou. You know what? If they jump Mizzou, that's just fine, because when we go into their place and beat them, Vandy can be like 14th, Mizzou can be like 15th. Yeah, that's just fine.
Perfect.
Vandy's going to win that game.
I will double down, and I will take the Missouri Tigers.
Oh, Grant!
Minus 1.5.
I could kiss you. I love that you're doing that. I don't know how confident I am. You're too excited about the kiss. I think Mizzou wins this game, but I will be a little bit terrified by the time it gets here. I should be. I said play confident and win. That's what they can do. I'll double down on Bama. I was worried you were going to take the double down on Bama. Honestly,
I
feel pretty good about those two. That's going to get me 2 wins. I'm gonna make back all the units that I lost last week, and get back to 500 with those 2 teams alone. Will gain me 4 units. Yeah, Bama minus 8.5 will be another double down for me.
Okay, I have bet on Duke all season long, and it has lost me so many times. Give me Georgia Tech plus 1.5 against the Duke Blue Devils.
I will say that feels like one of those spreads that I think is wrong, and ends up, you know what I mean? We're like, I'm like, oh, Georgia Tech should probably be favored, and the fact that they aren't scares me a little bit.
Same.
You.
That's why
I don't know. I don't, which again, like you're taking the points that are given freely when it feels like you should not be an underdog. But
I'm taking the square play.
Yeah, you are. I'm thinking about fading it, but I hate Duke. I hate them. I had a lot riding on Cal when Duke beat him a couple weeks ago, and so I'm still a bit sour about that. I'm going to take Indiana minus 27.5. I think they're just a wagon.
Who are they playing?
They're a wagon playing Michigan State.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've done fairly. Is this my 4th pick?
This is number 4 of our favorite picks section. Yes.
I've done fairly well on Friday night games. I already have 1. I'm going to go 1 more. Nebraska plus 7. Like, I don't think Nebraska is very good.
Minus 7.
Oh, God. Okay, never mind. I thought they were plus 7. And I was like, whoa.
No.
Okay.
At Minnesota.
I take it away. Forget I said
it. Let me talk you into that. I wrote this pick up yesterday for a betting preview. And the deal is with Nebraska, they can't really stop the run, but Minnesota doesn't run the ball. And I think the Nebraska side is actually the right pick. I'm not going to take it if you don't, but I just I'm not gonna talk you into anything, because then if it goes bad, you're gonna blame me. So do whatever you want.
I'm gonna go.
Started covering this game thinking Minnesota, and then I researched it, and I ended up on Nebraska.
Maybe for my fifth pick, I'll go Baylor TCU over 65 and a half.
Betting TCU over.
I love betting Baylor and TCU over, and they both play, so it's like just a perfect storm.
Here's what I'll say though. I liked your pick last week of Tennessee Arkansas over, and it didn't get there.
It didn't.
Because of the massive number, which was 68 and a half, and only got 65. If you
Yeah.
get a 34-31 here, you're going to get burned again.
That would suck.
But I think it's the right. This feels like truly a no defense optional Big 12 type of game. So I don't mind that for you. Oh, let me think here. Feel pretty good about that Indiana pick. I might actually try to bet that in a jurisdiction of legality.
We're about a month away.
A month away? Oh, from being able to access DraftKings. Yeah, month and a half. Gee whiz, man. Okay. I think it's important. I'm still thinking about Mizzou college football playoff. I think this is an important game for Notre Dame to lose.
Ooh.
Because it's maybe the last chance for them to lose one. And I'm going to say that it's not close just because I need it to be close. Notre Dame minus 9.5. That feels like
so.
That's one that I'm looking at that number going, oh, USC all day. It should be like more like 6.5. But because I'm leaning into what I think is the wrong line, I'll go Notre Dame minus 9.5. That's kind of a heart pick because I want to see USC actually win that game outright.
I'll lean into the UCLA Demons right now, and I will take UCLA minus 3 at home against Maryland.
Wow. I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
The renaissance of that offense.
It's awesome.
Has
Nico.
changed things. Everybody gives Neuheisel the credit, though, instead of the interim coach. I don't even know the interim coach's name.
Don't even know his name.
I just know that blonde kid that calls the plays.
He's awesome. Last pick here, Brendan.
Last pick as we get out of here. Is there anything good in the National Football League? No, give me Miami minus 12.5 tonight. I'll do it. I'll do a Friday night pick as well. Playing Louisville. Every year, I think Louisville's kind of overrated. Miami, I think, is properly rated as one of the top teams in the country. Kind of would have said Miami and Cal parlayed tonight, but the line movement on that Cal game from 14 to now 8.5 scares me.
Scary.
But I like Miami winning that game by a couple of scores.
I do too. All right, so hopefully we win you some money. Hopefully the Missouri wins, and we'll come back next week really happy with more money in our pockets and another Tiger victory to improve them to 6-1 on the season. He's Brendan Schaefer. I'm Grant Salzman. Make sure to tune into STL Sports Central for a lot of more Mizzou content and the Mizzou postgame show following the game against Auburn, immediately following it on STL Sports Central on YouTube. This is the Lou Information Station. This was MIZ-STL. We're live and on demand at louinfo.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based solely on advertisement.